afternoon. It's always tough being the last speaking after this kind of presentation. In fact, myself, I've learned so much today that I'm happy I agreed to be part of this. And of course, most of the learning here is emphasis on learning the need to improve ourselves every day. Now, I know I have 20 minutes, so I'm going to talk about stages of wealth, why we need to build wealth, the steps to building wealth, then building sustainable wealth. And maybe I'll be drawing from some personal experience of the entrepreneur here. Okay, so those are the things I'm going to be talking about. So, stages of wealth. One of the things I have realized, and I think most of you would agree with me, is that wealth is a personal issue. That's why most of us, you can't even show your pay slip to your best friend. You can say, no, they pay me poorly, but you can't show your pay slip. Yeah, I know they pay you poorly, so let me see what your employment letter is. You know, you don't want them to see those nitty-gritty. So, in talking about wealth, it would have to depend on the individual. For some people, wealth building is getting out of poverty. For you professionals, because they are all professionals here, I'm sure you are either at the state of wealth creation, or if you have created the wealth, you are in the process of sustaining it. And maybe for those that are well above us, especially the entrepreneurs and all of that, they're the state where they're looking at transferring wealth to the next generation. You know, because it's important. In wealth management, we talk about rag to rich to rag. You know, so if you don't do it properly, your grandparents were rich, were poor, you manage to be rich, what's going to happen to your children? Are they going to be rich or poor? Depends on how the process is handled. So where do you begin? To begin, you have to have an objective. What are your goals? What are your investment goals? And a few of the speakers here have said before me that you need to write your goals down, because it needs to stare you in the face. And it needs to be concrete. It needs to frighten you. Can I really achieve this? I don't know whether it was Chunri that talked about being concrete with writing your dream. I want a 2018 Prado Jeep. Black Prado Jeep. I know someone who in 2002 or thereabout, his dream was to have Benz 300. Because that was the car of the moment. It was automatic, everything was fine and all of that, but without a timeline. So in 2015, he succeeded in buying the Benz 203. Did he achieve his dream? So it depends on what you are looking out for. And you have to be definite. In 10 years' time, some of the, what we say here will be on record. So if your dream was to get a black 2018 Prado, and you actually succeeded in 10 years' time, would you say that is an achievement? So you need to be focused, you know. And then, of course, risk. You know that with everything in life, there's a risk. Not taking a risk is also a risk. You know, you say people die because they sleep. Oh, people die while sleeping, and you decide not to sleep, and you die for lack of sleeping. You know, so all of this will form your investment strategy. By the way, you know that I'm not giving you any particular tip. I'm just to provoke your mind into what will lead you to building wealth for yourself. Because of course, like I said, it's individualized. Why do we need to build wealth? Because things can happen. Our well-planned life can change, not because of our inaction, but because of other people or government, all that things that are outside our control. So for instance, change in government policy, change in technology. He explained change in technology. You understand? And see how he landed in that rounded figure of 26 million debt, just because technology changed. If you had a backup plan, maybe not. You know, so you need to be mindful that things can happen and you need to prepare for those things. Government policy is actually the most unpredictable. So someone in government can wake up today and say, look, there's ban on importation of whatever that you think is doing well at the moment, and then you're stuck. Macroeconomic indicators, inflation. You think you have enough money put aside to take care of the rainy day, but then inflation goes up. The car you think you can afford to buy for 10 million is no longer affordable, even though you still have that 10 million sitting in your bank account. So you need to be mindful of this thing. And other unforeseen circumstances, it could be health, it could be technology, it could be anything. You need to be mindful of these things. And for most of us here, or the world at large, our biggest problem is going to be longevity. Unfortunately, most of us here would live longer than we hoped for or we planned. So back in the days, you say you live long, but do you want to live long without having things to take care of you? And forget the whole saying that you take care of your children will then take care of you and all of that, except you have a daughter, right? Except you have a daughter, then you can be relatively comfortable because your daughters will always take care of you. That's a joke, by the way. But it may be true, so depending on, so I'm not offending the guy. So longevity. In Nigeria, I think they work, the highest you can stay in a job, I don't know whether that applies to public or government, is 60 or 65 and all of that. But because of this little problem, most of you, because of technology, because of advancement in healthcare and all of that, you will live well beyond 65. So if you are unfortunate to be like my grandfather, who retired at the age of 60 and then live up to 100, what's going to happen to you thereafter? And remember, he probably didn't start job the day he was born. He started job maybe around his 20s. So maybe he had only 40 active years to work for, and maybe he saved. But now, he lived another 40 years without regular paid employment. Maybe that's why it was nice to some of us, his grandchildren, you know. But, you know, you have to think about what happened. If I lose my current job, would I be able to live the kind of life that I'm already used to? So in wealth management, there's what we call lifestyle planning. If you retire today or you lose your job, ideally while you were working, you go on annual vacation and all of that, maybe company sponsored. Would you be able to afford this? And you know, sometimes for rich people, it's not so much that they don't have money anymore. It's just that that wealth is not increasing the way it used to be, or the inflow has stopped. So if you were benefiting a lot from your company and the company is no longer there to support you, do you have enough put aside to take care of those things that are now essential to you, that are now your needs? So let's talk about steps to building wealth. You have to be engaged. I'm not talking about getting a man or a woman. You have to be productive. And thankfully, we're speaking to professionals, so we're all engaged in one way or the other. And of course, like previous speakers before me, being engaged means that you have to see that you're working for yourself. You're not working for your organization. Because of course things will happen. There's someone that is watching and you can be asked to leave because you're not giving your best. So you have to be productive. You have to be properly engaged. You have to pay yourself first. What I mean by paying yourself first is that whatever comes your way, forget the fact that your money is not enough. It's never enough. I remember when I was 7, I used to pray for a particular figure that, God, one day when I start working, I knew it wasn't immediate. I was looking at maybe 10 years time. When I start working, I want to be earning X amount of money per annum. You know, but life has been relatively okay, and I started earning that annual income, maybe monthly, and yet it's not enough. You know, so maybe my prayer wasn't really as focused. You know, because circumstances will change. You're earning 50K, you're earning 100K. You think you're comfortable. You're living in wherever. You're living wherever with your 100K. Suddenly, your company, you change job or you promoted and all of that, and the company decides that they're going to be earning 500K. You suddenly start saying your neighbor has below you. No, I can't live here anymore. I have to go and call my neighbor to move his car before I go out. No, that's not going to happen, you know. And then you move to a cozier environment. And then your pay increases, and then you move to another place. You know, the point I'm making is that your needs will always expand. You know, even without telling anybody, once your income increases, people around you will know. Because there's a way, it affects your movement somehow. You know? People will just know. So you have to automate your investment. The rule of thumb for investment is save 10% of whatever income comes your way, whatever money comes your way. So if you're earning 200, that means you're saving 20K every month. But if your income increases to 500, that means you're saving 50. You know, and that would help you someday. You have to manage your lifestyle. Some of it I already talked about. Technology is not helping lifestyle a lot because right now there are all sorts of avenues online where you can buy stuff. In fact, the challenge for some of us, for some people before now is I want to buy a particular kind of shoe or dress and all of that is not available in Nigeria. Oh, when I go for summer, when I see someone going. But today, I hear on Amazon, you can actually buy something from any country in the world and then it's shipped to you locally. You know? So the world is a global village. And what that means is that you're able to spend more easily by going online. So you need to manage your lifestyle. You know, don't spend beyond your means. The moment you spend more than what you earn, you know you are never going to be rich. By the way, most of us that work with organizations, unless we own our job, we can't be on the list that she showed up earlier. Right? Right? So manage debt. And I said manage debt, I'm not saying don't owe. Because of course, one of the rich people are the ones that you find are owing a lot. If you ask the bankers here now, some person is the richest man in Nigeria, but if you go to the bank, he's probably their biggest debtor. But what is he using the money for? That's the difference between him and I, or him and you. If you borrow for productive means, then you're better off than to borrow for, you know. And of course, when I talk to groups on asset management or something, I always try to define what an asset and liability is. So your fancy car may not be an asset. So if you borrow and say, no, I'm buying the latest black Prado 2018, you know, that's not necessarily an asset. Because Uber won't even take that. Or even Uber will take it. I'm not sure you will get value for the money. You know, so manage your debt. Sometimes it's good to hold because localizing it to Nigeria, when you hold, you live longer. Right? Because you are not the only one paying for yourself anymore. Now you need to set emergency fund. Suddenly you get to office on Monday and you can't key into your system. And you get a notice, please report to HR. We all know what that means. Now, what happens to you thereafter? So you need to set aside. The ideal thing again to set aside is to have between 3 to 6 months salary saved. So that for the next 6 months, you know that you won't go begging anybody. You are paying yourself from your savings and hoping you get new job. Because, especially for those of us that feel we're very good, when you lose your job, it's tougher to get a replacement. If you are not so good, you know you are not good. They've asked you to go. You start struggling, meeting people you know to get a job, and usually you get. But you think you are so good. You are in denial for the first 3 months. Instead of you to prepare CV, your mate that was fired the same day as prepared CV distributed. That's the denial. Me, I cannot be sacked and all of that. So, and of course there's a love test. You get to the first month, maybe you usually take something home to your kids and all of that. That's not coming anymore. Then you know whether you're truly loved. You know. So, the process of financial planning is that you need to seek financial advice, professional advice. He said it better than myself. The trouble he went through, and I'm happy he spoke before me, the trouble he went through was because he was novice, he was naive at the time. He's a better person today. I remember when in his story, when he was talking about going back to Starcoms, he had to write an MOU because he was dealt a bitter lesson the first time. Now most of us now, because of this discussion, we've taken some notes, so we'll be better than him, or we hope we won't make the same mistake. Most times we think professionals are just there to make their money and all of that. They're there to help you accelerate your growth. You can't do without a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not pitching. But sometimes, especially as an entrepreneur, you need your lawyer, you need your bankers and all of that. Develop goals, evaluate your results frequently, and invest in education. Because we're talking wealth here, I've said financial education, but education generally. You know, read. Warren Buffett is the richest man in the world. I hope I'm still updated. Bill Gates is the richest man. Who? Okay. It's easier to know who the richest man is. Why is it not someone in this room? Well, whoever. Warren Buffett is the richest investor in the world, right? Okay. Now, he's 87 years old. And every year, he reads 52 books. That means he reads a book every week, at least one book a week. And most of us were young and vibrant. We don't have money, but we have excuses not to read. Why would an 87-year-old man with that kind of money be reading? You can answer the question. I have a few minutes to go, but it's essential. This is actually the main reason of our discussion. Now, this is not my concept. This concept of the cash flow quadrant was introduced by Robert Kiyosaki. Most of us should have read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or any of the series. And he says that these two guys, this is where you want to be. You are either a business owner or an investor, right? But of course, most of us will find ourselves in this area. You are either an employee or you are self-employed. Either way, you should be somewhere here, right? Remember, I started by saying you have to be engaged. Now, what did he say? If you are employed, sorry, my technology. If you are employed, you are working for money. If you are employed or self-employed, you are actually working for money. But if you're a business owner or you're an investor, the money is working for you. So this is where you need to be. In case you don't understand what that means, look at the world wealth. 5% of the world wealth is owned by people who work for others. 95% of the world wealth is owned by people who either own those businesses you're working for. Someone talked about Adenuga here and Globe, or who invested in those businesses. But only 5% of the world population are there. If you talk to me as on an individual basis, I can better advise you on what I think is good for you or what is suitable based on certain questions you will need to answer and all of that. And that for me will be how to build wealth for professionals. Thank you.